Hi, hi everybody. This is the second lecture for week 6. In this lecture, you will learn about two more types of business decision. Okay, in the previous lecture, you have learned about the introduction for how the business decision is made, and then you have learned about relevant cost and irrelevant cost, and then you have learned about one type of decision making, which is adding or dropping a business segment. In this lecture, you will learn about two more decision making process. Okay, this is the first one. This is about make or buy decision. Okay, see this slide. When a company is involved in more than one activity in the entire value chain, it is vertically integrated. A decision to carry out one of the activities in the value chain internally rather than to buy externally from a supplier is called a make or buy decision. So the thing is like this. Let's say you have a business, and then your business produces something. When you produce the product, when the business produces the product, the business has to use direct material or components. When the business has to use the component, the business has two choices. The business can purchase the component or material from outside supplier, or the business can make the component internally. So if you are a manager, you have to decide which one is better for your business, to make the raw material or component internally, or to purchase the component or raw material from outside supplier. This is the kind of decision that you will learn in this subtopic. Okay, let's see. This is an example. Essex company manufactures part 4A that is used in one of its product. So this company produces a product. At the same time, it produces the material or component for the product. So this company manufactures part 4A that is used in one of its product. The unit product cost of this component or part is like this. See the yellow box for the part 4A or component 4A. The direct material cost is $9. Direct labor cost is $5 per unit. This is cost per unit for the component. Variable overhead is $1. Depreciation of special equipment $3. Supervisor salary $2. General factory overhead $10. Unit product cost is $30. So if this company made the component 4A internally, the cost of making the component 4A is $30 per unit. So now from this data, you have to aware that some of this cost for of making the part 4A, some of these costs are relevant costs, some of these costs are irrelevant costs. Okay, for example, the direct material cost is relevant, direct labor cost is relevant. Relevant cost means the cost will change when the company stop making this component. Variable overhead is relevant. Depreciation of special equipment. So you know about depreciation. Depreciation is an expense that a business has to record every year. You produce the product or not, you have to record the depreciation. So maybe depreciation expense here is not a relevant cost. If the business made this component, makes this component, the business has to record the depreciation expense. If the business does not make this component, still maybe the business has to record the depreciation expense because the machine is there. Supervisor salary, maybe relevant, maybe not. General factory overhead. Okay, general factory overhead, most of the time is irrelevant cost, because if the business, the company stop producing this component or part 4A, maybe the business still has to pay the general factory overhead. So maybe the general factory overhead is not a relevant cost. Okay, let's see. So you have to you have to understand this cost, and then let's see. Okay, these are additional information. For the first information, the special equipment used to manufacture part 4A has no resale value. So what it means by has no resale value? It means that if the business stop producing this part 4A, the machine is still there, cannot be sold. Every year the machine is still has to be depreciated. The depreciation expense is not stopped. Every year has to be recorded. The second information, total amount of general factory overhead, which is allocated on the basis of direct labor hours, will be unaffected by this decision. See, like I said earlier, if the business stop producing the part 4A, still the general factory overhead is still has to be paid. And then the $30 unit the $30 unit product cost is based on 20,000 parts produced each year. This data or information is related to the fixed cost. An outside supplier has offered to provide the 20,000 parts at a cost of $25 per part. Okay, now, should we accept the supplier's offer? So let's see. If you compare the cost without doing analysis, you will say that it is better for this business to purchase the part 4A from external supplier. Why? Because the external supplier offers the part 4A at $25 per unit. If we do not do the analysis, we say that it is cheaper to purchase the part 4A from supplier, because we have seen in the previous slide, the cost of producing the part 4A is $30 one unit. Now the external supplier offer $25 per unit, so it is cheaper by purchasing the part 4A from supplier. So that is before we do analysis. Now, if you are a manager in a business, you have to analyze first. Then you can make a good decision. So let's see how to analyze this kind of decision. Okay, to analyze this, to make this kind of decision, you have to do this analysis. The analysis is you have to compare the cost of making the component or part 4A and the cost of purchasing the component or part 4A. See in this column number 4, you have to compare cost of making the part 4A and cost of buying the part 4A. Okay, so now we focus on the cost of making the part 4A. Okay, when you want to calculate the cost of making this part 4A, remember, you have to show or include relevant cost only. You cannot show, you don't have to show the irrelevant cost in the analysis. See here, okay, from the cost data can be seen in column number 2. This is the cost data, direct material, This is cost of making the component or part A4A. Direct material $9 per unit, direct labor $5 per unit, variable overhead $1 per unit, depreciation equipment $3 per unit, supervisor salary $2 per unit, general factory overhead $10 per unit. So that is per unit data. Now the company has to use 20,000 units of part 4A. So you calculate the cost of making 20,000 unit of part 4A. So see if direct material is relevant cost. Why relevant? Because if the business make the part 4A, the business has to pay direct material cost. If the business does not stop making the part 4A, then the business don't have to pay the direct material cost. That is why it is relevant. Okay, if you can understand that, you check the definition of relevant cost in the previous lecture. Okay, now there is one relevant cost. It is $180,000. Why? Because 20,000 times $9. Okay, direct labor cost is also relevant because it changed in the different alternative. Okay, direct labor cost, if the business is making the part 4A, is 100,000. Why 100,000? Because $5 times 20,000 units. And then variable overhead is also relevant cost. It exists if the business make the product, but does not exist if the business buy the component. So 20,000, $1 times 20,000 units. Depreciation of equipment. Okay, so like I said earlier, depreciation is not relevant. You check the previous the additional information in the previous slide, you will see that the depreciation is irrelevant cost. Why it is irrelevant cost? Because the business has to record the depreciation expense if the business making the part 4A, and also the business has to record the depreciation expense if the business buy the component 4A. So it is irrelevant. It exists in both alternative, so it is not relevant. Supervisor salary is a relevant cost because if the business is making the part 4A, the business has to pay the salary. But if the business stop making the part 4A or buy the part 4A from outside supplier, then there is no need to pay the supervisor salary. The cost is $40,000. General factory overhead is an irrelevant cost, not relevant, because it exists in both alternatives. Okay, so now you calculate the total for the cost of making the part 4A 20,000 units. So total cost of making that part is 340,000. Okay, but if the business purchase or buy the part 4A from external supplier, how much is the cost? The cost is 1 unit part 4A is $25. The business has to purchase 20,000 units. So $25 times 20,000 unit is equal to $400,000. So now see now you can compare the total cost. Okay, now the question is, you have to, what do you think? The company has to make or buy part 4A. Okay, so we can see clearly the cost of making the part 4A is cheaper compared to the cost of buying the part 4A from external supplier. So the good decision is to continue making the part 4A. So now you can see, like I said earlier, if you do not do the analysis, you will say that it is cheaper to purchase the part 4A from external supplier, because the external supplier offers the component 4A or part 4A $25 only per unit. But when you do the analysis, you will see that making the component is cheaper. So it depends on the situation. Sometimes you have to do the analysis, and then you can decide. Maybe in some situation, purchasing the parts from external supplier is cheaper. Sometimes the making the parts is cheaper. It depends on the situation. Okay. So before this, you in the previous lecture, you have learned about relevant cost and irrelevant cost. And then you have seen that there are two types of irrelevant costs, sunk cost and cost that has to be paid in the future. Okay, now there is a new type of cost that you have to know. It is called opportunity cost. An opportunity cost is the benefit that is foregone as a result of pursuing some course of action. Opportunity costs are not actual dollar outlays and are not recorded in the formal accounts of an organization. How will this concept potentially relate to the Essex company? Opportunity cost is something like this. It is the benefit that the business has to sacrifice when the business choose one alternative and reject another alternative. Okay. At the individual level, it is something like this. We use an example, a student example. Let's say there is a student. After finishing his or her SPM, he has two choices. He can work, or he can go to continue study in university. Two choices: go to work or go to university. So if the student choose to continue or to go to the university, then there is an opportunity cost. What is the opportunity cost? The opportunity cost is the salary that he can get if he go to work. Okay, that is one example. Another example, let's say we make a simple example for a business. Let's say you have a business, and then you have unused space. You have a shop, a big shop, and then you have a unused space. So now you rent the unused space to another business. So every month you get $1,000 rent revenue from that unused space. And until one day you want to decide whether to make your business bigger and use the space that you have rented. Okay, now you have two decisions. You have to make decision to use the space that you have, or to continue renting the space. So the opportunity cost is like this. If you use the space, and then you have to sacrifice rental revenue of 1,000 every month. That is opportunity cost. An example of an opportunity cost. You do not record it, but when you choose one decision, you have to sacrifice or forgone something. Okay, I hope there is an example related to opportunity cost later in this topic. Okay, this is another decision that you have to know. It is called a special order decision, or special order means special order is a one-time order that is not considered part of the company's normal and ongoing business. When analyzing a special order, only the incremental costs and benefits are relevant. Okay, the special order is something like this. Let's say we make a small business example. Let's say you start uh, what kind of business? Let's say there is a burger stall. This burger stall sells chicken burger. All the chicken burger, the price of the chicken burger is $4 per unit. Anybody go to the burger stall, if the person want to purchase the burger, the price is $4 per unit. Special order is something like this. One day, somebody come, let's say somebody come to the burger stall and ask something like this. He said he want to purchase 100 chicken burger, but he want it because of he ordered in a big quantity. He want the price is $3 per burger. Maybe that person is a teacher. He wants to he has a party or something, or he wants to prepare food for the students in the school. So he said he want to make an order 100 unit burger, but he want the price is only $3 per burger. So that is called a special order. It is happen maybe one time only. So that is a special order. So it happened to a big manufacturing business also. For example, a business that produces what? I can make an example. Okay, let's see. Maybe there is a sample question after this. So, if that situation happen, there is a way to analyze whether to accept or reject the special order. If you are a businessman, you have a business, let's say you own the burger stall, you can sell your burger at $4 every day for every unit. One day somebody comes and want to order 100 unit burger, but he wants the price is at $3 only. So how to decide whether to accept the order or to reject the order? Okay, let's see. Okay, this is an example. Jet Incorporated makes a single product whose normal selling price is $20 per unit. A foreign distributor offered to purchase 3,000 units, but requests for a price of $10 per unit only. Okay, this is a one-time order that will not affect the company's regular business. Annual capacity is 10,000 units, but Jet Incorporated is currently producing and selling only 5,000 units. So see here, the capacity or the ability of the of Jet Incorporated is the company can produce 10,000 unit product per year. Currently, the company is operating at under the capacity, under the limit. The limit is 10,000 unit per year. Currently, the company only producing 5,000 unit per year. Okay, so the question is, should Jet Incorporated accept the special order? If we do not do the analysis, then we say that the company should not accept the order, because the company sell the product at $20 per unit, but the request is 3,000 unit at the price of $10 per unit only. So it is like the company will making loss if the company accept this order. So, but like I told you earlier, if you have a business, do the analysis first. After you do the analysis, then you can make a good decision. Okay, let's see. So this is the data of related to Jet Incorporated. Now the company is producing only 5,000 units product. So let's say revenue is $100,000. How it get $100,000? 5 unit product produced times $20 per unit, so $100,000. The variable cost, there are direct material, direct labor, manufacturing overhead, and marketing cost. Total variable cost is $40,000. So if the total variable cost is $40,000, how much is the unit variable cost? Unit variable cost is $8 per unit. Why $8? $40,000 divided by 5,000 unit of production. So $8 of variable cost per unit. Fixed cost equal to 28,000 plus 20,000. So total fixed cost is 48,000. Now the business is making $12,000 profit. How to get the $12,000 profit? Revenue minus variable cost minus fixed cost. So one thing that you have to know, variable cost will change when the quantity of production is changing, but fixed cost will not change when the quantity of production is changing. Okay, so let's see the additional information. Maybe there is another additional information. No. So now you can remember that the unit variable cost is $8 per unit. See. So how to make decision whether to accept or reject the special order? So the decision is simple. If the profit of the business increases after accepting the order, then the business has to say yes or accept the special order. If the profit of the business decreasing after accepting the special order, then the business has to say no. So let's see how to do the analysis. So this is the way to do the analysis. You compare the increment in revenue with the increment in cost. So see here, if the business accept the special order, how much is the increment in revenue? The increment in revenue is 3,000 unit special order times $10 per unit price of the special order. So if the business accept the special order, the increment in revenue is 30,000. Now we compare with the increment in cost. So how much is the increment in cost if the special order is accepted? Okay, the increment in cost is 3,000 unit product times $8 variable cost per unit. So the increment in cost is 24,000 only. There is no increment in fixed cost because, like I said earlier, fixed cost is fixed. No matter how many unit you produce, the fixed cost is will not change, provided that the production unit is still within the capacity. But if the production unit is more than the capacity, then there will be an increase in fixed cost. In this example, Jet Incorporated, the capacity is 10,000 unit per year. Now the company is producing only 5,000 unit per year. If the company receive the special order, the company will need to produce 3,000 units more. So the total production is 8,000 unit. It is still within the capacity. So there is no change. There is no change in the fixed cost. Okay. So when you compare here, the increment in revenue is 30,000. The increment in cost is only 24,000. There is an increase in profit of 6,000. So the business has should say yes for this special order. If if you do this analysis and then you see that the increment in revenue is less compared to the increment in cost, so you have to say no for the special order. See the yellow box there? The answer assume that fixed costs are unaffected by the order and that variable marketing costs must be incurred on the special order. Okay, you have to remember the way to do the analysis. Okay, this is additional thing. When a limited resource, or this is another decision, another type of decision. So this is these are two. This is the end of this lecture. In this lecture, I have explained to you two types of decision, and then you have seen how to do analysis when you want to make these two type of decision. The first one is what is the first one? Okay, this is the second one. This is the second decision that we have covered in this lecture is special order. Before this, the decision is about what? I can't remember, but you can check in the previous slide. Thank you very much. Do not forget to write your name and matric number in the comment section. That's all for this lecture.